Hello people of the internet. Yes, as you can see, I am back. All my videos have been purged, as you can tell, and last two videos I did do was with an AI voice, but then I was just like, yeah, this isn't really working. So I decided I'd do a little video. Let me just briefly explain why I did all that. I felt like I was copying someone too much, and I without realizing, I tricked myself in thinking that I was copying others, even though I really wasn't. I was just inspiring my content from other people. That's not really copying. Now that I've addressed that, got that out of the way, let's talk about this video, shall we? And this video is a review of Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder. So let's just say this. There is going to be spoilers. If you've seen the movie, go ahead and continue watching the video. If you simply don't give a shit, continue watching the video. Let's get right into this. So let's just make like an overall review. So yes, let's talk about the pros first. One of the things I did like about this movie is how Thor and Jane were handled as a relationship. Though I didn't like how quickly they rushed to the kiss scene. Like, here's how it went for the relationship. They had Thor and Jane reunite about 30 minutes into the film, and they already kissed 1 hour into it, which is already near the climax of the movie. The reason I find that such a big issue is because it's a rushed reunion. Like, I get it, Thor missed her for a long time. He even counted exactly how long it's been since he's last seen her. I mean, like, if you watch the trailer, you can tell he does count that.
3-4 years?
8 years, 7 months and 6 days, give or take.
Handling of the relationship was, yeah, it was pretty decent. Not gonna lie, I kind of liked it. I loved Gore the God Butcher. Other than Thanos, he's probably my favorite MCU villain. Let's talk about the third positive I had for this movie. How they handled the final scene between Thor and Gore was actually beautiful. It actually made me tear up. It was that powerful a scene to me. And to give a brief explanation of what happened at the beginning of the movie, Gore's daughter got killed from something. I don't know what she died from. We barely see her, but I can at least understand, but from Gore's perspective, why he feels this way and why he decided to go out and kill the gods. And he sacrificed his own life so that his daughter can live again, which I think is actually a really tragic way to handle the character, and it is actually a great way to handle his death. It was probably the best scene on the entire movie. Unfortunately, it's one of the only good scenes in the movie. Now let's talk about the bad shit. Surprisingly, the visual is actually one of the bad parts of this movie. Hold the fuck up. How is the visuals one of the worst parts? And the VFX teams were overworked and they didn't get to finish the rendering. Because of that, even the CGI and VFX look like shit in this movie. The color grading is just so fucking saturated. Personally, I like my movies to have a perfect sense or a perfect balance between vibrance and desaturation. I like that kind of color grading. But not the way they did in Love and Thunder. It was just, my god, it was way too vibrant. It actually gonna hurt my brain, hurt my eyes looking at how fucking vibrant this movie was. And then, and it's not too surprising because Marvel actually did fuck over the VFX companies that were doing their bestest job to do it, but each time they did like a great job at something, the indie directors that Marvel kept on hiring that have no experience working in VFX companies are like, oh, this isn't what I want. So then they make a VFX company to redo the entire third act, and that'd take like millions of hours of rendering, and they're just like, oh, I don't like this, redo it again. And it just rinse and repeat. And then if Marvel doesn't get the perfect VFX they want from the movie, they just don't even pay the VFX companies. Well, I don't know if they do or not, actually. It sounds like they don't. They don't say specifically if they do or not, but I know for a fact they do. They do blacklist them and never use them again because they didn't get that perfect VFX that even they didn't know what they wanted. If you're a director, you should know how to work with VFX teams and know exactly what you want in your VFX scene. Otherwise, you're just gonna overwork your fucking VFX teams. In fact, the VFX teams have recently come out online and talked about being pixel fucked by Marvel, because Marvel's actually going to look at every tiny little pixel, and they notice one tiny little flaw, they just make VFX or redo the entire third act of a movie over and over again, overwork them, and then get mad at them for not getting the perfect VFX look that the directors want, even though the directors don't even know what they want. Now the story wasn't bad, but it was very much generic. I didn't like the story in this movie. And just to be sure of it, or just to say this, you guys know that one arc Thor went through the entirety of phases 1 through 3, the Infinity Saga of finding himself, and by the end of Endgame, he's already found himself and defeats Thanos. They just discard that, and make him go through the exact same arc he already went through in Love and Thunder. He has to find himself again, which... What? 2 writers and they come up with a shitty generic story of the villain kidnapping a bunch of children and there's only heroes to save them? God. That story trope has been done millions and millions of times. Now for the third issue. Valkyrie literally serves no story purpose at all, and she's just there. She doesn't do anything to contribute to the story. Korg didn't like how overused he was either, but at least he somewhat contributed. Somewhat? I mean, at least he actually did something. Now for the biggest issue I have with this movie. I don't like the comedy in this movie. If you guys notice those screaming goats in the trailer, the ones going, wah, 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 and just scream. Eventually just starts getting fucking annoying as hell. Anyway. Comedy's really sloppy. Overall, it's not exactly bad, at least to me. It wasn't, but it was really boring and generic. Now yes, in my last version of this review, I mentioned the cancer thing, but I realized that was a bit of an over the top exaggeration, because the way Taika did it was that he wasn't too bad about it. He made the jokes about cancer the same way anybody else would make a joke about cancer. The person who has cancer making the jokes about the cancer itself, because that's their way of coping with it. I do appreciate the efforts Taika put to not make it so offensive, but some people don't know that humor is a way to cope with issues. It didn't really feel like the character was coping with it. It feels like the character just was saying it just to say it. It didn't really feel natural, which is why I didn't really like it, and that's why I kind of got a little bit over exaggerated about hating Taika. Overall, I'll give this film a solid 6 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It was about as good as Black Panther, slightly better. At least I wasn't too fucking bored like I was with Black Panther. That does not fuck with the quality of the movie. I'm not saying this on an objective quality standpoint. This is just my personal opinion on the movie. I was giving an objective quality rating. When it comes to quality, I would probably give it about a 4 or 5 out of 10. But on a personal level, I'll give it a solid 6 or 7. I actually did enjoy it. What else can I say about this other than peace?